was around 1995 when my husband and I lived in Southern California. Our neighbors, who we were very close with, had a baby girl, and at this time she was maybe 12 months old. Her name was Cammie. This is the story about Cammie. She had multiple health problems. I mean, if she got the common cold, she would end up in the hospital for at least 2 weeks at a time. She had 3 holes in her heart and seizures almost daily. In fact, I would watch her mother react and what she would do when little Cammie would have one of these seizures. I would pray, my husband and I would pray often for Cammie that God would heal her body and that she would grow up to be a normal child. One day, my husband was rewiring his Jeep in our garage, and I was in the front yard picking some peaches from our peach trees. And Cammie's dad ran over, hysterically crying with Cammie in his arms. She was limp and lifeless, and he just kind of threw her into my arms and said, "Take her, I can't deal with her dying in my arms." And he ran back in his house to contact his wife, who she was grocery shopping or something, and he called 911. I looked at little Cammie and I knew something was desperately wrong. She was burning up, and I just called my husband and said, come over, we need to pray for little Cammie right now. She was having what I found out later, a grand mal seizure, which was very serious. We brought her into our living room, laid her on our couch on her side, and we just said we just need to pray. And I asked my husband to pray, and he put his finger on her forehead and said 6 words, and I'll never forget them, the most powerful words when you can pray for someone. He said, "Father, in the name of Jesus." And at that moment, a lightning bolt hit him from the top of his head, down, running through his arms and out through his finger into Cammie's lifeless body. The power was so strong. Cammie's eyes rolled back and she took a deep breath. Her mom and dad ran into our house at that time, and I looked up and I said, "Cammie is okay." At that time, also, 5 or 6 paramedic people just busted through our door, ran in, and stopped like there was an invisible wall. They just halted. There was silence as the Spirit of God began to work a miracle in little Cammie's body. The silence was deafening for a few minutes. And then my husband and I got up, took steps away from the couch, and allowed her mom to come in and explain to the paramedics all the medical issues that Cammie had. The paramedics took over. They took her to the hospital. And later that night, they came home with Cammie, with a little girl who got a cold, like I said, and in the hospital for 2 weeks just for a cold. She came home from having a grand mal seizure. Weeks later, at our next appointment, we found out what God did. The holes in her heart were completely healed. Her seizures had stopped. All these problems began to just heal and fill in, and she was breathing normal. She was just acting like a normal baby. Do you believe that Jesus heals today? I do. That day changed my life. See, my husband and I, we were just there. We were tools for the Lord to use us. And I just find it so interesting that my husband was rewiring his Jeep. And God had some rewiring of his own that he wanted to do through us. See, Matthew 4:23 says that Jesus went about all, healing all kinds of sickness and diseases. He still does that today. I hope that this has encouraged you and that your prayer life will be increased and that you'll have the faith when you say, Father, in the name of Jesus. Thank you for joining me for my prayer moments with Jana.